You ain't listen to.
What's good, no maniacs, man? What's happening? Thank all you people for being in the chat. J2K, Mike Withrow, I seen the Laura family, Patty and Junior, Brian Hendren, Mark Kazak, Creighton Wolfong, Torian Whitfield, Cornelius Squall. Hey man, glad to have all you guys here with us today. Hey, our special guest just popped up in the green screen. We'll bring him in just a second. But before we get into everything, man, I just wanted to, we missed Samo for a couple of shows, man. He had a family emergency, sent good vibes out, man. They were received. Glad to have you back, bro. But more importantly, glad your family's okay, man.
Appreciate it. And I appreciate all the love from the chat and everybody's prayers, man. I'll just say that they were answered and all is well right now. Appreciate it, everyone.
Yes. So without further ado, I think Herb is I don't know. Herb is got his camera off. I know maybe he's doing something right now. But we'll bring him in a second. But lots to talk about, man. We got a game coming up Saturday. And just a reminder to you guys, we will be doing a show. I think we agreed to half an hour before, right, Trip?
Yeah, we're going to do that little pregame tomorrow, Saturday.
Okay, and then do it after show. We're going to do a Nomad at night right after the show. So we'll do that. I don't know. Maybe we should. I don't know. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, we'll be available to you guys before and after the game. So be looking out for us, man. You know we're going to cover it the right way, give you guys everything you're looking for. And so without further ado, man, hey, listen, how you guys been doing today? What are you looking forward to in this camp?
Where do you want to go?
Go ahead, Trip.
You know what? Let's go Samo. Let's go Samo. Samo's been MIA for a couple of days. Samo, what are you saying?
Man, what I'm looking forward to is just the competition. Looking forward to seeing what we got in these young players, seeing what we got in the depth, man, at the defensive line. I'm really interested in seeing what depth we have at the offensive line as well, because it seems like an ailing position right now. Hey, we got our boy down here in the chat. I'm gonna pop him in real quick.
Yes, sir, man. About to bring in Herb Howard, man, from the Biggs Media, our guy, man, our favorite beat reporter. Herb, what's happening, man? What's going on with you?
It's good.
What up, y'all? What's the word?
Man, you the word, man. We asked, that's why we got you here, man, to figure it out, man.
Herb is the word.
Eyes on the field, man. What's good, man? What you looking forward to in this game Saturday, man? Who you gonna be watching?
It's got to be the kids, man. I mean, obviously you want the offense to come out and move the ball. It'd be nice for them to go down and get a touchdown. But outside of general hopes for the offense to kind of look good and fluid, you got to keep your eyes individually on the kids. Darnell Wright, you want to see how he comes out, how he handles himself against some real live pass rushes. He's been a little jumpy lately with some of these false starts. You want to see him out there. You want to see Braxton Jones out there. You want to see Tyreek Stevenson out there, and you want to see both of those two young D tackles. You talk about Javon Dexter and Zach Pickens. So for me, other than generally watching how the offense performs, I have my eye on all those young guys.
Hey, you know what, Herb? I've been dying to get you on here so I can ask you this question, because you the one got me on the watch for this dude, man. DeAnthony Jones. I haven't heard anything since he's been in pass. He's just where he's positioned on the depth chart is kind of interesting though.
Yeah, he hasn't really flashed a whole lot. He's running with 2s and 3s right now, but you still see those traits, man. You still see his bendability. You still see he's got that kind of quick first step. I think that given an opportunity in the preseason games, he may flash. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see him get in on a sack or two.
All right, you guys got anything for her?
Man, I got a lot for you, big dog. Welcome back.
What's good? What's good?
Appreciate you, man, as always, and
Most
everything
definitely.
you've been doing and all your good stuff. Your Claypool meter, I don't know how he goes down if he's out. I don't know how. That's what I'm
That's how he goes down. Like the best ability is availability, and he ain't available, and that's really one of my biggest concerns with him coming into camp was his availability. How often will he be out on the field? Will these nagging injuries keep him on the sideline? That's as big an obstacle as anything else to him actually becoming a major contributor in this offense, and that's what the Chase Claypool meter is about. My belief that he'll be a major contributor in this offense. He can't do that in the training room.
Hey, Herb. Hey, what is that whole thing between you and Braggs about Chase Claypool? What is that, man? I'm like getting in on the butt end of it, man.
It's funny because I was gonna add, that was literally where I was gonna head to, right into that with her. What do you got to say, Herb?
Nah, it's nothing, man. Just some good lighthearted fun. Little fake Twitter beef. Ain't nothing to it at all. Shout out to Braggs. I think he does, really good work. So it ain't nothing. He just tweaking. He talking about that man dominating camp. He not, but he has been a good storyline in camp though. So it ain't nothing to it.
That's what I want to know though, because I've heard it's like mixed reviews. I hear you saying, "Hey man, he's doing good," but saying dominating, that's going a little too far. And a lot of people I can remember before that conversation started, people was like, "Man, he's really turning it up a notch, and he's like the person that's sticking out here."
Yeah, I think he's having a good camp. I think he's been a pleasant storyline throughout camp. If this offense is going to be what they hope to be, they need him to be a major contributor in it. And so I think that the signs have been pointing in that direction. He's been trending up most of camp, and the Bears need him to continue to do that, right? And so my Chase Claypool meter aside, he has been trending in the right direction. That being said, he ain't dominating. He ain't out there mossing dudes every day, catching multiple touchdowns. That's not happening. Like, you know what I mean? Like, either we need to redefine dominate or we need to use another word. So, he's having a good camp, though. He's having a good camp, no doubt about it.
Well, let me ask you this. As far as what I'm looking for tomorrow's preseason game against Indianapolis is, well, everything, but specifically the interior offensive line. We've seen that Patrick has been out. Tevin has been in and out, which has given Leatherwood and Tyree Carter a chance. But as far as Island or Kramer or any of those guys, are they showing you anything being out there? And also, secondary question, Nate Davis, is there something wrong with him or he just don't like to practice?
I don't know. I think he may just be pulling, one of them, vet moves, and he's learned how to finesse the system a little bit.
Yep.
That's what you hope. Now, at some point, you got to start to wonder, like, when does it go from I'm not really concerned about him, he's a vet, he'll be ready, to it is a concern. At some point, it becomes a potential hindrance to their preparation for Week 1 against the Packers, and so you definitely got to get him out there. He's got to get some continuity with the guys next to him. You talk about Cody Whitehair and Darnell Wright having his veteran presence next to Darnell Wright should be good for the rookie, but you need him out there. So hopefully he gets out there soon. They're able to get some time on task, get enough reps so that they can, do that communication, those nonverbal communications where they passing guys off, they're handling stunts well, those types of things. And so hopefully he's able to get back out there. As far as Dieter Iceland and Doug Kramer, I think they've liked Doug Kramer since, last year. He was hurt, and I think they want to give him some looks at center, and you see him out there running, second, third team with that lineup. But right now, I don't think that's something that would make anybody feel comfortable about putting him in front of Justin. So hopefully, their front five can stay healthy for the majority of the season. If those other guys have to come in for finish, hopefully it's not for any extended amount of time.
Herb, you going into camp, I remember really specifically you were going to keep an eye on the swing tackle position. In particular, I think you were talking about Larry Bourne. Now, the word is he changed his body. Flus said he came back in really good shape. Are you seeing a different Larry Borum or more of the same?
Yeah, I think more of the same. I think we know who Larry Borum is, right? The good thing is he's got a lot of football under his belt. He's still a young player, but he's had some experience as a starter in this league. And so if he has to come in and be your swing tackle, he should be able to get you through a game or, get you through a couple games if need be. But you also got to, accept the possibility that the swing tackle for the Bears this season may not yet be on this roster, right? You got to deal with cut downs. The Bears are going to have the first pick in terms of waiver wire when those cuts are made. So, it very well may be possible that the swing tackle for them this year isn't yet on this roster, but I think we know who Larry Borum is, and it's not at this point. It's not a knock on him. It's just, fifth round guy came in, he's got some ability, but is he, one of 32 left tackles or one of 32 right tackles in the National Football League? I don't know about that.
Well, it sounds like we have some breaking news, and I'm in here looking for the breaking news clip.
From the Nomad Network News Channel, we have breaking Chicago Bears news.
So apparently we just cut Aaron Cruikshank, and what's the guy's name? Logan Stenberg.
Logan Stenberg.
Yeah,
Daniel
so
Greenberg is throwing it out there.
Yeah, Detroit Lions offensive lineman Logan Stenberg off of waivers. And the corresponding move was young Cruikshank had to go. Damn.
So there we go. I mean, does it say what position he plays? Guard, tackle?
Offensive line.
Yeah.
Right. So, but
Detroit line.
That does. I think we just talked that into this. Just talking about this. Yeah. I mean, I feel the same way, even though I haven't seen a snap out there other than what I've seen on a video clip. I haven't seen anything on Bourne where I can really evaluate anything. So if you say it's much of the same, that could be why they're making a move right now. I don't know.
Yeah, we got it. We'll see. I'll do some work on Logan. As far as Cruikshank, I'm surprised they let him go so soon. I would have thought they wanted to get a little bit of a longer look at him in terms of his kick return ability. The kid is dynamic. He's super fast. He's a natural punt returner, just in the way that he's able to kind of glide under the football, under control, calm, and then that acceleration, that burst. Now he is very, very small, but I would have thought they would have wanted just a little bit of a longer look at him. We'll see.
Yeah, Roshan, man. If I don't ask something about Roshan, man, people gonna probably tear me apart in my DM, man. But how's Roshan been looking, man? Is he? I know he's not meeting the hype that people have for him on Twitter, but is he looking like he's serviceable, or what is he playing? 2, 3? Who's getting the snaps out there?
Well, you got Khalil Herbert and Deontay Foreman getting the bulk of the carries. Travis Homer has been out for the past couple of days, so Roshan and Treston Ebner have been getting the opportunities. Treston Ebner broke a big run for a touchdown a couple of days ago. And Roshan, he's a physical runner. He runs with great pad level. He's downhill. He is a physical runner. In terms of all the hype, in terms of everybody saying he's the next great Bears back, hopefully, right? I mean, I hope so, but I don't know where all the hype is coming from. I don't know who's seen him do all of these things that people are claiming he can do. I mean, he seems to be a great man. That's wonderful, right? That don't translate necessarily to the football field, but he does seem to be a great person. But he does run with great pad level, and he's physical and he's downhill. So hopefully he becomes the back that everybody believes he can be. I'm excited to see him in preseason. He has a couple, fumbling issues throughout camp. He's put the ball on the ground a couple times. Certainly got to clean that up, but we'll see.
What about Khalil? I mean, that running back competition is going to be tough, man. And they have a lot of bodies, a lot of able bodies in that room. What about Khalil? Is he showing improvement pass protection, or at least showing a different mentality? And what about him catching passes out of the backfield as well?
Catching too, for sure.
I asked him a couple of weeks ago about pass protection, and he admitted that he just has to have a better mentality about it. I asked him if it was about technique, or if it was about knowing your assignments mentally, or if it was just having the right mentality to do it. And he gave me an honest answer. He's like, I just need to improve my mentality and, to do it. So that being said, it's hard to really tell in practice. Nobody's actually trying to get through you to hit Justin. You know what I mean? So that's a tough thing to tell. You see some of the one-on-one drills where the linebackers go up against the running backs, and you can tell a little bit there. That's more technique stuff than anything else. But until you have those live bullets where there's actually a quarterback behind you and actually a target for those blitz and backers to come through at, it's a little bit tough to tell. So I think we'll get the best indication of where he is with that in the game. Hopefully, you get to see a couple blitzes from Tennessee, and as those preseason games were on. But it's good that he at least acknowledged that it's just an internal thing that he needed to kind of check himself on. So hopefully he's able to do it. If not, the Bears got a lot of good backs, man. So Dante Foreman's in there. Travis Homer's good at pass pro. I hear Roshan's good at pass pro as well. So they'll have everybody had the opportunities to show and prove.
So it sounds like all these other guys are versatile running backs that can do more than just run the ball. And that's my concern for Khalil. He's just that one-trick pony, and everyone says he's the wrong home run hitter. He had one 100-yard game last year. Mm-hmm. And that's not home run hitter type. If I'm a home run hitter, I would expect to have more. A home run is a touchdown, right? One long touchdown. Yeah. He has a lot of nice long runs, but who's to say that these other guys in the room can't do the same thing? But and we know that they can pass protect, and we know that they can catch passes out of the backfield.
Yeah, I think they'll wrap the hot hand, right? I think it could be game specific. I think it could be week to week, just depending on what their game plan is, who they choose to ride with based on their particular skill set. I think Khalil Herbert is a very good runner. Obviously, led the league in yards per carry last year. I don't know that he has that top end home run speed to take it 80 yards to the crib. But he does have nice contact balance and things like that. So I think it's a versatile room with a lot of guys that can do a lot of things well. And so I'm not worried about that running back room. I think that whomever they decide to go with will be for the right reason. Either they're playing really well or their skill set fits really well against whatever defense they scheming against. So I think that running back room is in a really good spot.
So they go ahead, Kez. Go ahead.
I was just going to say I'm excited to watch that battle and how it turns out, to be honest with you. I think that's going to have a huge impact on our season moving forward. Go ahead, Nomad.
No. All I wanted to do was thank you guys in the chat for hunting down the information. I think it's pretty confirmed that he's a guard that we just signed. And so what I would ask you, I'm going to ask you this real specifically. Do you think, let's just move outside of barring an injury. If that's not the case, did you see something indicative on the field that will prompt them to make a signing like that right now?
Yeah, I haven't done any work on doing it, so I don't know. Until I do that work, I don't even know what they brought him over here for. Like, I don't know how many starts he's got in this league. I don't know.
No, I'm just talking about. Did you see any bad guard play?
I get you, but what I'm saying is I can't unless I don't know if they bringing them in, to be some starters. I don't know what, I'm saying? I haven't seen nothing in particular to say, they just really, really struggling at the position, except for their right guard they just gave his money to hasn't practiced. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's what they bringing them in for, if they bringing them in because the Alex Leatherwood experiment isn't working or they're not satisfied with what they've seen from Ja'Tyre Carter. I can't really say for sure that it's looked that way for any of those guys on the interior. But once I do a little bit of work on the dude they just brought in, it'll give me a little bit better indication of what they're thinking about the guys they already have.
Okay, hey, right now it doesn't cost them anything to bring him in and take him to the hood.
Information: he was a former mid-round pick. He didn't make a name for himself in Detroit despite injuries. He was 26, drafted in the 4th round out of Kentucky in 2020. And entering the final year of a 4-year deal worth $4 million. In 2022, he appeared in 16 games for the Lions and made 4 starts at guard. That's what we know right now.
Yeah, I just Herb, I do your homework on that, man. Me when they make moves like that, it just makes me think, all right, is somebody like Ja'Tyre Carter not giving them what they're looking for? It just made me think that, man. But let's move on from that,
Yeah.
man. Hey, Terrell Lewis, man, keeps popping up on everybody's feed, man, and I'm seeing it multiple times, man. Is he looking good out there and making a name for himself?
He's had a pretty good camp to this point. He's a little banged up right now, so I doubt we'll see him tomorrow. He's missed the past few practices, which isn't good because he was trending up. He's been productive. Beating those tackles when he was running with the ones, getting a lot of rep with the ones at times as well. So right before he got hurt, so it's a bad time for him to get hurt because I think he was starting to really raise some questions about the numbers in terms of the edge position. You talk about bringing in Yannick Ngakoue, obviously signed DeMarcus Walker. They're still very intrigued by Dominique Robinson and his traits and what he could develop into. They signed Rasheem Green. He's had some good practices lately. And then so you're talking about they're going to keep 5 of these guys. Then if Terrell Lewis, continues to trend in that direction, what does that mean for Travis Gibson, right? Does he become expendable? Can you look to save a couple $1 million right there? So I think that, if Terrell Lewis is able to, get back on the field and continue to perform the way he was performing, that may be a legitimate question about Travis. I love Travis, but you thought he would take the step forward last year, and it just for whatever reason didn't materialize. And so I think he could be a bit at risk. But to make that risk a reality, Terrell Lewis would need to get back on the field, be healthy, and continue to trend upwards.
Is that cat not bending the corner? What is it he's not doing that Terrell Lewis is doing?
Who, Travis?
Yeah.
Yeah, Travis is having a good camp. I think he's having, as good a camp as Terrell Lewis. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he's had more time to do it, right? He's had more time for them to see it. And so having Terrell Lewis, kind of come in and perform the way he's performing and making less money, it just becomes, a decision of, okay, well, why pay this dude $2.5 million? We can pay this dude less, and he's already performing. Plus, we think he has better upside. A lot of people think that Terrell Lewis's upside is really, really high. Talking about his pedigree and coming out of Alabama and what he was able to do when he was healthy on the field. So I just think that if he continues to play that way, most times they're only going to keep 5 DNs, and the math is somebody's got to go, right? So Terrell Lewis has got to go, or Dominique Robinson's got to go, or Travis Gibson's got to go. Rasheem Green, DeMarcus Walker, and Yannick Ngakoue are gonna make this team. So you got 2 more spots for those other 3 guys, and we'll see what that looks like.
You're saying Rasheem Green is a lot? You saying?
Yeah, they just paid him. I mean, you know what I mean? They paid him. I don't think they paid him just to come over here for the spring and summer. And he's having some pretty good days in camp so far. He's long. He's able to get his arms up and bat the ball down. Those things can turn into interceptions with the guys behind him. So I think he makes the team. DeMarcus makes the team, and Yannick makes the team. And by my estimation, you got 2 more spots.
I can't actually, man. Specifically, man, Travis Gibson, man. People talk about whether or not they've been talking about this since they changed the defense up. Is he a 4-3 D lineman, man? Is he better off in a 3-4 drop back linebacker type role and standing on 2s to rush the quarterback? And people are like, hey, cut him. No, I think you can get some value for that guy, man. If that's the case, if Terrell Lewis is playing that good and you think you can part with him and be okay, I think a trade is, I mean, do you think they might cut him or reach out to some teams for a trade?
I mean, I definitely think he's in the conversation of vets at risk because I think him and Kendall Vildor will be 2 of the guys that come to the top of mind in terms of veterans that are in danger of not making this roster. In terms of trade value, it's a tough time right now. Somebody really likes him that much. They say they might throw you a 7 or something like that, but I don't really see that. Just considering the time, I think they would understand where they are in the process. And if you're trying to trade him right now, then he's probably gonna hit the street in a couple of weeks anyway. So I don't know what the market for Travis Gibson would be. It's not like he had a big year last year or anything like that. So I don't know what the market would be for him right now. If he isn't with the Bears, I would assume he'd probably be with Detroit or Green Bay. Tends to be when you got guys like that, those kind of middle of the road kind of guys, when they leave, they tend to stay in the division because those are the teams who know most about them. The rest of the league might not know that much about Travis Gibson, but the Packers do, the Lions do, the Vikings do. So those tend to be the teams that kind of pounce on those moves first, if it's a need they have. But, I'm not saying he's gone. I'm just saying that the math is getting a little tight.
Well, speaking of the math getting a little tight at the secondary position, cornerback, Cornelius is saying there in the chat on Nomad Network on the YouTube. Vildor, these young bucks that they've brought in and drafted are pushing him. Is he making a case to remain?
Yeah, I think it's more about what they're doing than what he's doing, right? I think they just like Travis or, like Larry, I think they know what Kendall is or isn't at this point. There's been enough time, there's been enough tape to know, who and what Kendall Vildor is. So then the question becomes, are they better than that? And, right now they're giving them every opportunity to prove it. And Tyreek Stevenson and Terrell Smith are getting all the reps with the number one defense. Terrell Smith's been injured for the past several practices, but before then, he and Tyreek were getting all reps with the number ones. Kendall was not. But you also talk about, guys, like Josh Blackwell, Jalen Jones, and Josh Blackwell has mostly been playing nickel, but Jalen Jones as well. Being in the conversation, I think that these are guys, younger guys, we want to take a look at, and I think they also provide good value on special teams. When you talk about Jalen Jones and Josh Blackwell, for me, it just seems like there's probably not a space for Kendall on this roster because they want to get a look at these young guys. Yes, sir.
Hey, Herb, every time you move, you breaking up real bad. Like, the more you move, it breaks up a whole lot. Yeah. But you good now, as long as you kind of still when your head's moving, it's kind of breaking up real bad. But yeah, okay. I'll finish your thought, man.
No, I just think Kendall's in trouble. That's it.
I mean, you said it the best possible way, right? And it's really about everybody else in that secondary and them giving them a shot. They already know all about Kendall Vildor, realistically, right? They've seen him in action. They had plenty of time to watch him. At this point, it's like eyes on those rookies, eyes on those young bucks, and see what they can actually do to potentially push him out. And one more little point is, again, he's not a Poles guy. He's a pace guy. They did some great drafting by way of secondary. I think, give those kids the opportunity to run with it. Unfortunately, that might mean, some bad stuff for Mr. Vildor. What can you do?
Kids just led me to this next point and you guys are right in that territory we need to be. The scrum between Tyreek Stevenson and Terrell Smith, man. Who do you think is getting the better of that situation and why?
I think they both performed pretty well. A couple weeks ago, coming in the camp, you would have thought that it was Tyreek Stevenson's job to lose. But Terrell Smith was out for most of the spring in terms of OTAs and minicamp. But then Terrell Smith started to get his opportunities, and he was making plays. He was tight in coverage on guys. He's running with Darnell Mooney. He's contesting balls. He had a couple of interceptions. So every time he got opportunities, he performed well. And then Tyreek started to get back into that conversation because Terrell Smith ran with the ones for several practices in a row. And then Tyreek started to get back in there, and every time he gets in there, he gets his hands on the ball. He gets an interception. So I think they're both, just performing really, really well. I think it'll go into the preseason and see, who can stay healthy, number one, because like I said, Terrell Smith was out in the spring. Now he's out again. That doesn't bode well for him. Tyreek Stevenson has been available. So if I had to lean, number one, I would say they traded up in the second round to get Tyreek. So I think they would want it to be Tyreek, but also he's the one that's been most healthy and most available. So if I had to choose, I would say Tyreek for sure. But Terrell Smith has shown himself well every time he's had an opportunity.
How you think that bodes for our guy Jalen Johnson and his contract situation? That both of these young guys are playing really well right now.
I wouldn't factor it into it. I mean, I get it. In terms of what if they both can develop to starters and they can be your two starters, and then you let him go. But Jalen Johnson's a really good corner in this league. I think he does a lot for this defense and allows them to do other things with the guys. And, to assume that one of these guys is going to be, ready to start, even though they may not get that many reps throughout the course of the season. Let's say Tyreek Stevenson wins the job and then he starts 17 games for you. Well, how much ball did Terrell Smith get a chance to play for you to be like, we're going to let Jalen Johnson go because we know he's nice? That's a big risk. We got a corner who's capable of covering, the number one receiver for opposing offenses. I think that they should go ahead and get Jalen Johnson locked in, and those kids can battle it out for that other spot. And, if you win it, you win it. If you don't, you don't.
I was telling you guys that the exact same thing the other night, man. But go ahead, Trip.
I was just gonna say it's a good problem for us to have. This is definitely what you consider a good problem, right?
Yeah.
What are you saying, Trip?
Are you muted?
You're good.
You muted, Trip. No, I agree
Yeah,
with you heard, but I just see the value in having your top 3 corners on rookie contracts is crazy. If those guys are legit and they can all be starters, having that could be crazy and allow so much for Ryan Poles to do with the salary cap, as far as signing other players who can help those corners, like a dominant pass rusher next year or something like that. So that's just something I was thinking about.
Ain't no doubt. Like in the perfect world, you got 2 starting corners, in the second round and the 4th round. But that's ambitious, man. That's asking a lot to think you did well twice and found 2 gems. Like that's asking a lot. And I don't know that I would be willing to bank on that to say, okay, both of them dudes can go out there and cover number 1 receivers, for the next 4 or 5 years in this pass happy league. When you got a guy that can do that, I would say run that and let that other situation work itself out.
See, my thing about it.
Sorry, Nomad. I'm just going to say one thing that brings me a little bit of pause there is just, potentially the ability of Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus to scout cornerbacks, right? It looks like they're pretty decent at it, and that might factor into Jalen's extension down the road. You might, we could probably just go get another guy who kind of looks and smells and feels a lot like you because we're good at that. We'll see.
I just don't think people are being realistic about it, because I hear a lot of people like, hey, we should probably trade Jalen Johnson now and see what we can get off of him. You wouldn't want to know what the Bears defense would look like with 2 rookies out there playing cornerback. Trust and believe me, because whichever one of them dudes wins the job, gonna be taking L's. He's gonna be taking some licks out there, man, until he understands like he needs to understand and keeps his confidence up. He's gonna be they're gonna have to shade coverage over him sometime. But then you got 2 of them out there, 2 rookies out there, man. That's a lot to work with. That's a lot to deal with. So I don't know if people are really considering what that might look like.
Oh, nobody wants that to happen. I mean, look at Kyler's first couple of games, right? His first couple of games was a situation where offenses were just testing him. Oh, the rookie's out there. Jalen got to number 1. Let's go number 2 all day long and see what happens. And unfortunately for Kyler, it was a learning case scenario for a little bit. Eventually, he started to figure things out. He started to get much better at the nickel position. Pretty decent on the tackling. I was impressed with with his growth last year across the board. Hopefully, again, we see similar things from both the new cornerbacks. But I wouldn't go kicking. I wouldn't go kicking Jalen Johnson out of bed for eating cookies.
Hey, neither one of those players can get better sitting on the bench. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true.
If we feel comfortable, if you're confident in your draft ability and you're confident that you found the gem in the 5th round, and this guy you telling me is competing with the guy you drafted in the 2nd round, then hey, if you're that confident in your ability to scout talent and develop talent, then why not? That's all I'm saying.
Hey, Jalen Johnson, Sam Rush wants you out of town, bro. I just
I'm
just
saying, if the money don't match up, dog.
You were invited on the show. Feel free to talk trash to Samuel for the entire episode.
I'll take that. I'll take my L's too.
Hey, Herb, it's been a player that we drafted at, I think he was close to our last pick. What's that kid's name? Kendall Williamson, man. What's he look like since the pads came on? Have you noticed him?
Yeah, he slashed a couple times in terms of his physicality coming downhill, making tackles in the run game. I can't remember who it was yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Came down and put a hit on somebody. He's got good size. He's got good length. I think they draft these traits. Like you hear, Ryan Poles talking all the time about getting, longer, faster. They got long guys. So, you talk about the quarterback competition like we just were. They look similar, right? They're tall. They're long arms, rangy guys. Kendall Williamson is similar in that way too, but he likes to come down and hit. Depth at safety on this team is a legitimate concern. I love their two starters, Bojack and Jaquan. After that is a little shaky. At DeAndre Houston, he's gone now. He was the type of guy that came in, may not have the same natural guy ability as some of these front end, but in a very smart way. He knew he was going to be where he was supposed to be as a good leader. You felt comfortable when he had the
Check your mic connection. You're staticky.
I don't know what's wrong. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with talking to this mic right here. I have no idea. Let me see if it switched to something else.
Like your
right now it's real good.
Isn't strong. Like not Wi-Fi. Your
probably his
Bluetooth
earbuds.
Connection was going in and out.
I think it's his earbud.
I think you just moved. I think it sounded decent right now.
All right, say something, Herb.
Yeah, can y'all hear me? Y'all got me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, it just kind of breaks up when you're talking.
Staticky. That's
we'll keep working with it.
I pop out and try to pop back in.
Try that.
All right, go ahead. Jump
Give
up.
me 1 second. I'll pop back.
All right.
In the meantime, Trip, what do you got to say, Trip?
Well, actually, I got another question for Herb. That's what I had queued up.
Well, before we get into that, Sam, make sure you guys make sure you like, subscribe, share, hit your notification bell, all that good stuff. It definitely helps us out. But Sam, you want to run that commercial right quick for us?
No doubt.
Hey, you maniacs, don't forget to follow all the Nomad Network content. Find us on Facebook.
Nomad Live. Nomad at Night.
And I am Alpha in the kitchen.
And to all the most popular podcast streaming platforms like Amazon, Spotify, and Apple Music. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
I can look at that commercial all day, man.
That's my hungry heifer right there.
Hey, man. All right, Herb pop back in. Let's see how we doing, Herb. Get Herb back in there. How we doing now?
There is. Oh,
who keeps doing that?
Oh, I think
my fault. You go ahead and do it.
That's
you go ahead and do it then.
Same time I was doing it. Go ahead.
Oh,
how we going, Herb?
I don't know. Y'all tell me how it sounds.
Much better now.
Yeah, it sounds like you're more mono, but it's clear. It's not crackling or popping up.
Right. Sounds good, man.
Right, cool.
Here's a question I was dying to ask you, but I know you just give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, because I know you got requirements as a reporter, what you can and can't say. Just give me a thumbs up or down if you can answer it or not. But I was gandering before the season started. I mean, preseason started, about maybe they might be thinking about, based on some of the players that they grabbed, thinking about experimenting with a 3-4 front or some 3-4 fronts. Is that something you can answer or no?
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen them, play around with the front like that. They've mostly been 4 down, in base and nickel. I haven't seen them do anything that looks like a 3-man front where they get 4 back. I don't know if they have. I guess they got a couple of versatile guys that could do some things like that. You talk about Dominique Robinson, maybe Travis Gibson. I don't know. I was gonna say I don't know. They have the stand-up guys that can do, both in terms of rough the pass and play the run, but also be able to drop back and coverage if need. So I haven't seen them play like that at all now.
It makes me think about DeAnthony Jones because he the perfect body type to be able. He's got the athletic ability and size to be able to wander and meander back in coverage. Man, he's an athlete for a guy that big. But that just made me think about that. I've been wondering about that since we grabbed some of those guys. But we'll move on from that, man. Noah Sewell, man. Dog. I've been telling people for a while, you better get his jersey while it's still cheap. I still believe that, and everything I've heard thus far through camp has proved that to me. Plus, Coach Wani went on 670 to score the other day and basically echoed everything I've been saying about Noah Sewell since we got him. And he sounds like the standout in camp to me. What do you think?
He's having a really good camp. He's had some opportunities. Jack Sanborn is another time. That's the spot that he's playing here. Back, I don't know how much that will impact, Noah's reps, but he's definitely a guy who's, got a nose for the football, underside the football, in the run game. He's always going to get his attention and be on the tackle. He's got good instincts. He's able to, kind of cut through trash in terms of getting to the carrier. So he's definitely got a nose for the football. And, when he gets his opportunities, he flashes. You can see him out there on the field. The issue of, can he jump over Sanborn to be the Sam? And then, how often are they going to be on the field? They're going to be in nickel, 60, 65% of the time, maybe, these days in the league. So, going base and having your Sam on the field, I don't know how much that's going to happen for him. And, again, I don't know if he's going to be able to jump Jack Sanborn, but he has looked pretty good. He's an exciting young player to watch for sure.
All right. Well, people complaining about not enough offense being spoken about. Let me ask you about
it's just Matt Nagy, brother. Don't listen to Matt Nagy. He's asking about curls and bubble screens right now.
Somebody also asked about Donovan Jeter. He got released and they brought in Bravion Roy for his spot. So that was probably a week ago at least. But Velus and Tyler, man, tell me what you think of those two guys so far in camp.
Tyler got real speed, man. He got enough gear. Like when you put the ball in his hands, you just kind of see him hit and go. He's had some drops, throughout the offensive. He's playing those things up, right? Big plays over the middle, drops it down the sideline, drops it. He got good catches too. I'm not, saying he's just dropping everything. Days where he's put 2, 3 balls on the ground, it's like, ooh, you don't really want to see that. Velus has been consistent. He's gotten better for sure. I still think that, his greatest impact probably going to be in the kicking game. I really like what he brings as a kick returner. Now, right now, he's the top of the depth chart at punt returner too. And I don't love that. He's not a natural punt returner to me. I think, like we talking about Aaron Cruikshank earlier, he's a natural punt returner. Dante Pettis, natural punt returner. When the ball's in the air, they're calm. They kind of float over to the spot and get there in time. Velus is always kind of seems like this, helter-skelter kind of situation where he's like, where is it? And that just makes me comfortable in the punt return game. Kick return is a different situation. He's fast, he's big. I love him back there in kick return. Punt return, not so much. Offensively, I think Velus is a person that they should use something packages. I think they should, have different packages for him where he's able to come in, get some of those screens, get some of those jet sweeps. He is dynamic with the ball in his hand, so I think he's shown better hands this game than he did last. And I think that Tyler Scott has the potential to develop into a serious weapon in this offense. So he's got to clean up the drop. I like Tyler Scott right now.
All right. Well,
so hands are looking good is really the moral of the story so far. It's super important because that's what scares the daylights out of me. Man, I'm blanking. I had another question about Velus for you. Any blocking from Velus? Can you comment on that at all? Have you seen anything along those lines?
Nah, not really. Mostly he's catching those screens, right? So you got DJ blocking, EQ blocking. Uh, so not really. He's not like a lead guy on kick return, nothing like that. So nothing that stands out about Bayless in terms of being a blocker. I wouldn't necessarily use him that way. I think you got other guys. You got Chase Claypool and EQ. Even Darnell Mooney's a really good blocker. So I think those guys would be more so blocking for him than him blocking for them.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is because he's tall. He's pretty tall, pretty decent sized guy. Right now, we're looking at a situation where both Claypool's out and EQ's out, and I can see them really filling that blocking void. Wondering if potentially Bayless could step into that mold too and carve a bit of a different role for himself on the team. But where were you going, Nomad?
No, I think Trip was trying to say something.
Oh,
first, there's a comment from T3P there in the chat on YouTube. He's giving you a shout out for asking the intelligent questions and relevant questions during the press conferences, and also a shout out for you and the do-rag Jalen conversation. My question is, what is Ryan Poles' demeanor like during practice, watching all these guys that he's brought in? Is he taking notes? Is he engaged? What is that like during practices?
Yeah, Ryan's out there every day. He's out there every day. He's right at field level. He's walking around. He's looking at different things. He's got the individuals. He's offensive line guy, so he's got an eye on them quite frequently. So he watches the whole team period. Sometimes you see him over there with the DBs when Chase and Bojack got into a little scuffle, a few days back. He ended up kind of being right in the middle of it, not on the play where they actually were fighting, but as they were kind of transitioning to the next drill, and they were still just chirping at each other. Ryan Poles kind of stepped in between them, like, yo, calm this shit down. Like, you know what I mean? He's always out there. And, he ain't kind of have to see him. He's always out there. I think Ryan Poles has been on most of the team in terms of where they're strong, where they're weak, where they might need to look to improve.
So, in that respect, I just want you to contrast that with the previous regime. Did you see the hires up on the field or out there watching on a regular basis?
Not as you see Ryan Poles. It's not to say that Ryan Pace wasn't out there. He was out there. He was visible. But Ryan Poles is out there every day, like the whole practice. Not like he popped in for a few minutes and he back upstairs or whatever. Like he out there at practice, like all the time. So his presence is a little bit more prominent than the previous year.
I could imagine.
That's what I wanted to hear.
I got a couple more questions for you, Herb, before we can get you up out of here, man. One, I think isn't getting enough attention. I think I keep hearing TJ Edwards is really all over the place, making plays. I think he's one of the more under-heralded guys that got in the free agent market. I thought he was top 5 linebacker last year, and I still believe that. And I think just the gift that we got getting him wanting to come here and play in his home city, I don't think is getting enough attention. TJ Edwards is a bad boy, and based on what I've been hearing from camp, he's been proving nothing but that. What about you, Herb?
Really kind of, you see everything that you hear about in terms of his ability to diagnose play. So talk about 40 times and all that kind of stuff. And it don't really translate. You know what I mean? So you can say, his 40 times is that. Well, if he's able to read it that much quicker than everybody else, then that 4-6 turns to 4-4 real fast. You know what I mean? So he's getting to the ball. He's got great instinct. The way he's able to kind of cut through the trash as well. He do that a lot. Able to get out to the sideline, able to make calls and checks and get guys where he needs to be. So he's been advertised as a really good linebacker that brings not only great plays but great leadership to that defense. So you want to get Tremaine Edmonds back out there healthy so they can continue to develop that on-field chemistry. But
yeah. Only one more question, man, because the breakup is still real on this side. Can you say something now? Can't hear you at all now. At all.
Think you muted?
Yeah, check if you muted, Herb.
He's muted on his end. I can't unmute him. There he is.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah.
It's great. Clear. That's great.
All right.
What just happened?
The last question I wanted to ask you was, of course, about our D tackle rookies, man. I see when I see you on being emphatic about something on Twitter, I'm believing it like an MF, man. So you looked emphatic about Javon Dexter, man. Tell everybody why.
He had himself a great day. Was it yesterday or the day before? Really, really good day. He was in the backfield, would-be sacks, TFLs. He's batting balls down. He's getting a little bit quicker on that get off. It's still inconsistent. He still got to work through that in terms of just getting off the ball. I asked him about that and what he needs to do. And he's like, I just need to key the ball, just be more consistent with it. He's aware of it and he's working on it. And he did look better later in the week, even than he did earlier in the week. Because I was watching him closely early in the week, and that get off was just slow. And it's getting better. You can continue working on it, but he's got everything you need, man. The kid is huge. He's strong. He does have the burst when he does get off the ball, and he can dog walk old lineman right back to the quarterback. Man. He has the potential to develop into a serious contributor for the defense. So you hope he just continues to develop, continues to work on the things that he needs to work on, because he's got a lot of tools to work with.
Man. And Pickens, man, how is he looking out there? Are you surprised that they? I wasn't surprised that they played him. They're playing him at nose and trying to teach him the position, because all I do is reference the Indianapolis Colts and what that deep front looked like as far as the body types and traits and stuff, and it just looks just like having DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart, but with Pickens being Grover Stewart, man. How's he been looking at one?
Nah, he's had his moments too. He's able to flash, able to hold up at the point really, really well, which is what you want him to do, right? So he plays with good leverage. He's able to anchor, uses his arms really well to keep the lineman from engaging him too early. And then he's able to shed and make the tackle, as the back comes through. So he's had some strong moments too. I think he's learning a lot from Billings in terms of how to play that position. And he's another guy that should be able to continue to develop and be a really strong piece, for this team moving forward. And both of those guys, if they can hit on both of those guys, they'll be in good shape going forward in terms of the interior of that defensive line for a while.
Man, there you have it from Herb Howard, man. Thank you, brother, because I've had a lot of questions, man. I think you answered a whole lot of what I wanted to know. I hope you did the same for the people in the chat, people that are watching the show, listening to the show, however they're taking in their podcast, man. I always appreciate you like a brother, man. Really, I do, man. I appreciate you taking time, giving us your time, man, and giving these guys a rundown on the show, man. I can't say that enough, Herb, man. I really appreciate you.
No, my pleasure, man. Thanks for having me. It's always fun to come chop it up with y'all. So I appreciate the invitation and look forward to doing it again sometime.
So you guys got any last final comments before we wrap this?
Yeah, I wanted to give Herb his time, obviously, because he's got a lot of things going on in the community and professionally. Holler at the people about what you're doing, Herb.
Yeah, man. So, with the big media, we also have a nonprofit wing called the Foundation. Going to schools a lot.
We losing you. We're losing you.
That's why I didn't ask him, man, because his feed was bad.
One more again, Herb.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on, man, but just follow me at Herb Howard 411. Follow the Bigs. It's the Bigs. You find out a lot about some of the stuff we're doing, not only on the field, on the court, and in the community as well.
I appreciate it, Herb. Hey, you guys got anything else, Sam, kids?
Nah, shout out to you, big dog. Keep doing your thing. We salute you. We love you over here at Nomad Network, man. Hope to talk to you again soon.
And thanks for keeping an eye on that entire team and being out there doing the darn thing as often as you are. We love the updates and appreciate them always, Herb. Thanks for coming up, brother.
Keep doing your thing, baby boy.
Hey, Herb, nobody does it better than Herb Howard. I don't care what nobody say. I think he's the best out there. Argue with me, wrestle me, whatever you want to do, man. But he the man out there. And I don't care what nobody say, man. I appreciate you one more time, Herb. And on behalf of the Nomad Network, Nomad Live, love, peace, and hand grease, y'all.
Bear down,
Bear down, y'all.
Bear down.